Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studios in Phoenix, Arizona, it's time for Phoenix Business Radio, spotlighting the city's best businesses and the people who lead them.
When you think of beauty, who do you think of? When you think of beauty, what do you imagine? What do you see? And then I'll ask the same question. When you think of somebody over the age of 40, what do you envision? And who do you see? Well, our conversation today is about just that. We are very fortunate to have Karianne Munstedt, CEO of Karianne Munstedt Portraits, and her 40 over 40 project. It's the first year for this project, already in fast motion to create the next group of powerful, beautiful women for the next project next year, another 40 over 40. And what we're talking about today, for those of us that are here in the studio, our friends on Zoom, and myself as the host, I got to participate as well. We're just going to have a really cool conversation around why would we each of us show up in something like this, and how do we feel about it. So with that, I would like to introduce our panel, our group of incredible women today, starting off with Karianne. Welcome to the studio, my dear.
Thank you so much.
I'm so excited to have you here. We've been talking about this for a while.
We have.
Tell us briefly, before we introduce everybody else that you've invited to come and rally around you to tell this story, who are you and what is the 40 over 40 project? What does it mean to you?
Yeah, thank you. So again, Karianne Munstedt, I'm the CEO of Karianne Munstedt Portrait. I'm a portrait photographer for women and also a coach in the area of self-love and body acceptance. I had heard from a mentor about this, about doing this project for women over 40. And, as I started thinking about it, I started thinking, man, it's so true. Like once we get in our 40s, it kind of seems like, it's like the bad end of things or something, right? Like we stop seeing ourselves on magazine covers. We stop seeing ourselves in commercials and on TV and stuff like that. And like, there's so much beauty on the other age of 40. There's so much beauty physically. There's so much success in women. So many women out creating new things on the other side of 40. And I wanted to create a project to really celebrate women over the age of 40 and show how beautiful and successful and amazing they are.
Have you done it? Do you feel like you've nailed it?
I have nailed it. We're creating a custom magazine, and you've all been sending in answers to your questions. And my heart is overflowing with the responses that I'm getting to those. So we have nailed it. And I cannot wait to share more of this project with everyone.
Well, we couldn't fit 40 women in the studio, but we did our best to fit all of you. And so we have Mary Beth, Kim, Rebecca, Catherine, and and Nicole as well, right? Did I miss anyone? I hope I didn't. That's everybody. Yes? Okay. So what a blessing to have the few of us that could come together today, really in honor of the project. So if we could just have each of you go around, I'd love to start with Mary Beth, if you don't mind, and just introduce yourself. And if you are in business for yourself or your profession is something you'd like to share, just a brief note about that. And why did you choose this project? And then after we have a chance to introduce each other with that question, we'll come back around and talk about, well, what has it meant to you personally? So Mary Beth, I hope I didn't put you on the spot, but we'll have you start first.
Thank you so much. I'm really honored to be a part of this today and this project. My name is Mary Beth Hartlab. I am the founder and CEO of Prism HR Consulting. We're based in Henderson, but we provide service nationally and even to some international clients. And I founded my company, it'll be 18 years, November 1st. So I've got an anniversary coming up there. And probably the best decision I ever made and one of the scariest ones, but we provide HR services to small to mid-sized companies who may not have internal HR or need project-based work. I currently live in Henderson, Nevada, but I hail from New York City. And so I'm really just thrilled to be here. The reason why I joined this project is pretty deep. I actually didn't know Karianne. I met her through Facebook, through a colleague of ours, mutual colleague. And I was just looking to get some professional headshots done and said, I really like your work and I'll get around to it and I'll get to Phoenix. And then this project came up and I talked with her and I said, I'm really interested in this because this really resonates with me on a deep level, both personally and professionally. From a personal perspective, I was fortunate to grow up before cell phones and social media, but still experienced some bullying. And ostracizing in high school, and it was tough. And it was tough for a lot of women that I knew. But from a professional standpoint, since I've worked in human resources for 30 years, I really see how the lack of self-confidence or the concern over external appearance and things can really be a detriment to women pursuing their career path and pursuing their professional ambitions. And my hope is that by participating in this project, that we are going to raise awareness, against ageism and the fact that age really is just a number, and we have a heck of a lot to offer the world. And I'm really just excited to be here and be a part of this.
Well, we could end right there, couldn't we?
Amazing.
We won't, but thank you, Mary Beth. I mean, really, I'm nodding my head like, yes. Oh, love it. Thank you so much for a great introduction. So, Rebecca, would you be willing to go next?
Oh, sure. Thanks for letting me follow that up.
Sorry. I know I got a little nervous.
You got it.
So honestly, echoing a lot of what Mary Beth said, hi, everyone. I'm thrilled to be here. My name is Rebecca Panaco, and I currently live outside the Washington, D.C. area in Northern Virginia. And my life, I've kind of bounced around a lot of different East Coast cities, but have been here for about 6 years or so. I work in marketing and advertising. I've been doing this for over 20 years. Started my career in this business working on ad agencies, and I now currently lead media strategy and investment for a major hotel chain, which I will not include the name here. But I love what I do, and thrilled to be here to talk about this program because honestly, this has been a really transformational experience for me personally. And I met Karianne actually through my mom. My mom worked with Karianne to help Karianne help my mom with her brand as she was starting her business and doing some photography work for my mother. And I had the opportunity to just gush over the photographs that Karianne took of my mom originally. And then was able to participate in another program during coronavirus where Karianne was doing Zoom photos through Zoom to feature women around the country. And it was a really wonderful opportunity to meet Karianne. She, I really felt like from the beginning, she and I really connected. And I had really wanted to find an opportunity to work with her in a more personal way. And this opportunity arose, and it was like, oh gosh, what a perfect opportunity to, one, I think, work with Karianne, but also celebrate me and my, my age and be proud of the fact that I am a woman over 40 and a profession, that's very male dominated at times. And just really being able to, I think, celebrate me and celebrate all of the things that I can bring to the world through photographs and working with Karianne. So it was really just a transformational experience because I think generally, and then I'll stop, but generally, over my life, right, I think we as women, I think are, leading a lot of expectations, or at least I feel for myself, leading a lot of other people's expectations and making sure I'm delivering on being a good mom, a good wife, a good daughter, a good friend, a good colleague, all of the things that are supposed to be the good. And then what gets lost in there is just being a good me. And I think what this program personally did for me was to be able to break out of my own being good for everyone else and really being able to shine the camera on me and unmask myself from all of those other good expectations. And really, I think what I saw when I saw my photographs was, whoa, that's me and only me. And it was wonderful and it's super transformational and something that I now share with all of my friends. Like, you need to do this because it really did change my life. And I feel like a different person after this experience. So it's just been absolutely wonderful.
We can hear it in your voice.
Thrilled to be here.
Yeah, you can hear it in your voice. And even when you spoke about seeing the photos for the first time, I could hear the emotion. There as well. Mm-hmm. And I can relate. I remember just having chills head to toe when we sat in our portrait reveal session. It was incredible. Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Catherine, would love to hear from you as well.
Hi, I'm Catherine Lynnae, and I'm from the San Francisco Bay Area. I live in Berkeley. This was my third photo shoot with Karianne. Every photo shoot I've done with her has been a different reveal and surprise. This photo shoot for the 40 over 40 project, Carrie said, bring your roller skates. Oh. And I said, okay. By far, those were the photos that popped out. I did some brand photos. I always do a multi-faceted photo shoot, as Carrie knows. And this photo shoot was all about the roller skates.
It was about joy.
It's about joy and living life and being comfortable in your own skin and being yourself. And I'm starting to launch my own art and design company. And so it's empowering. It's empowering in so many ways. And Carrie does it with such grace and ease and makes you feel comfortable in front of the camera. It's amazing.
Thank you.
I wish we had 3 hours to have this conversation.
Hear from everyone.
Yeah, fantastic. Oh my goodness. All right, Kim, would you be willing to share next?
Absolutely. Hi, my name is Kim Thigpen. I reside in Maricopa, Arizona. And I met Karianne through my executive coach who I worked with while I was at Make-A-Wish. My profession is IT, so I'm a technologist at heart. And at the time, I reached out to my executive coach, who also is part of this project, Mary Patry.
Who is also Rebecca's mom.
Oh my gosh!
Okay.
That's fun.
That's funny. Hi. I think I've seen the mother-daughter photos. So I have been working with your mom, Mary Patry, for over a year at Make-A-Wish as an executive coach to our IT leadership team. And I knew I was in the process of transitioning employers. I was leaving Make-A-Wish to go to Microsoft. And I had a friend who did some headshots, but they were like 15 years old. And I was like, it's time to update. I'm about to go on to a huge new adventure at Microsoft, and I just need to step my game up. So I saw Mary's website, and I was like, who did your picture? And she said, oh, you have to meet Karianne. I'm like, okay, so let me call Karianne to get these headshot photos. So I reached out to Karianne, and all I was interested in was doing a headshot. And partway through the conversation, she said, I have a project. It's really full, but I think you would be perfect for it. And Karianne's excitement and joy is so contagious. I was like, sure, I'll do it. Like whatever.
Sign me up.
Sign me up. She was like 5 outfits, and you could do like a sexy shot. And I was like, I've never done a sexy shot, right. But I'm gonna go out on a limb and do this sexy shot. And so I took my daughter. So talking about being comfortable in your skin, and your daughter sees you doing these sexy shots, I was like, okay, I feel good about myself. And I was really, really excited about all of my pictures, even the, what do you call, like the pictures that were taken in the studio on the cell phone, just like the...
Oh yeah, like the behind the scenes pictures.
Behind the scenes, I was excited about. And so I just recently updated my LinkedIn, and I've been contacted by 1 million people like, where have you been? Who did you see? You look amazing. Wow. And I'm telling everyone about this project because I'm really excited for Karianne. I think this is an exciting project. I won't be at the museum exhibit because my daughter's graduating on December 11th.
Right. Good reason to
miss it. We'll let you pass.
Yeah, we'll let her pass.
So I'm happy to be a part of this project. I'm happy to be connected to Karianne. She has a large outreach. It seems a lot of people in a lot of different places. Yeah. So I can't wait to see where this goes.
Thank you, Kim. Well, and I wanted to pass these over right now. I brought Kim's final portraits in today. So not only do they come with the digitals, but you also get a print of everything. So she's now looking at her prints that she has.
For the first time.
Oh, it's probably tied really tight. We might take the entire time to get it open.
God. But this isn't even the sexy shot.
That's not even the sexy shot.
So I'm going to come back to Karianne to get my, boudoir photos. I'm excited. I'm just excited about the pictures.
Oh, there it comes.
And
that's not the sexy shot, but that is a sexy shot.
Yeah. So for those of you,
powerful.
Wow.
Can you girls see
Beautiful.
that on the screen?
Gorgeous.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'll be updating my Facebook with this one.
Yes.
Yeah. Probably not a LinkedIn picture.
Depending upon your target market.
Yeah, exactly. Depending on your target market.
How about this one? This one's.
And then she got some
yeah.
more professional
This is
pictures
nice.
too. Yeah.
Is the blue and yellow in here, or
That's
did I
great.
do a blue and yellow?
I don't remember.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I think it's right behind
Oh, I
it.
see
It's in the same.
In the same
it's in the same
sleeve,
thing. It's
yeah.
just right behind
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Okay.
So thank you, Carrie.
You're welcome.
All right, Nicole, tell us who you are and why you chose this project for yourself.
I am Nicole Thompson. I live in metropolitan Phoenix, and I met Karianne through a personal growth and development seminar in the pandemic. So when we finally met in person was for a brand shoot that I did in December last year.
Yeah,
Right?
last year.
And she's like, "Oh, you're short."
That's the first thing I said.
That's awesome, said the photographer who notices those things.
We've been sitting on Zoom for a year.
I'm like this big on Zoom. So anyway, and I fell in love with her throughout our class anyway, because as you said, her joy is infectious, right? She's got a very magnetic personality. And so I thought she could bring that out in me in my pictures. And then of course, when she had this project, because once I sort of attach to someone, I pretty much follow them wherever they go.
Right.
And so I'm on board for next year. But the reason I was very interested in this particular project is because as a woman over 40, I've had 2 kids over 40. I also had 2 kids when I was younger, right? And now I have 3 grandkids. And so my life is different than most people. And when getting back into like being a toddler mom and, you know, all the momming things that comes with toddlers through elementary school, you definitely lose some of yourself.
Oh, yeah.
And when I had my first son, I was 19. So I was like, it's you and me, kid. I'm going to do what I want to do. You might get to do what you want to do, right? But I'm going to do what I want to do because I was 19. And now my motherhood is very different because I'm older, I'm smarter, I'm wiser. Sorry to my older kid, you know, and I was losing myself. And then the pandemic hits and I'm totally losing myself, right? And so just really keeping my business afloat and making sure my kids are getting educated and, you know, the house is still running. And of course, we're avoiding a virus. And so all of that hit me as, you know, what is going on with my life? What I don't feel like I want to feel. I don't look like I want to look, you know? And so it was a way for me to sort of get out of that slump that I had fallen into.
Mm-hmm.
And it started way before March of 2020, but you know, that was sort of the height of it. And so I was able to, you know, pull myself out, of course, with my first photo shoot. And I look at those pictures all the time. And so from photo shoot in December to mine, I was the last one. So I haven't seen my pictures yet. I can't wait for my reveal next week. But getting through that about year's time, I completely changed my appearance, my hair. I used to straighten it all the time, straighten since I was in 3rd grade.
Yeah.
And so wearing then my natural curls is very much a transition, you know, and something to get used to. If you see yourself one way and all of a sudden you're totally different. And I wasn't feeling like I looked beautiful. I wasn't feeling like I looked good. So I thought getting pictures with how I look now, which is really, to me, what kind of God intended, you know, like the way your hair just grows out, was going to be something that was going to give me a lot more confidence, was going to help me be empowered. And, you know, this seems kind of surfacey, right? But I forgot to say this part. I'm a stylist. So I help people make sure that their outside appearance matches their big message. Okay. And so I wasn't feeling like my appearance matched my message. And so how am I going to be authentic, right? How am I going to serve my clients if I'm not feeling the way I want them to feel when I'm working with them?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't match. And so I was able to use this, just even looking forward to it. I was excited about, you know, finding my outfits and finding my poses and what was I going to do, what ideas did I have, you know, that I wanted to bring. And I ended up with way too many ideas, right?
We had about 5 photo shoots that we could have done.
Even before I got in front of the camera, I was already feeling that. So just the idea of it and looking at everyone else's like pictures that were being posted and shared. And, all of that was just helping me to kind of get out of that slump. And I've left the slump behind. I'm totally on the other side of it. So yeah, but it was very transformational for me. And somebody who, I'm typically have a lot of confidence. And, it just brought that back and reignited that in me. So that's why I did it.
And it's interesting that you mentioned that you said it feels kind of surface for me to say this, and yet the very nature of the work that you do is to help people embrace how they present themselves on the outside, so that it's in sync with who they are on the inside.
Absolutely.
And I point that out because the work that I do, it's similar. I go through those moments of self-doubt. I go through those moments of self-sabotage. I go through all those things, and it's the very work that I do when I'm coaching other people, right? And I think that's part of why it's so important, the work that we do. And I know, Karianne, this is your work as well. We know who we are, and we know where we doubt ourselves. And so if we can help everybody kind of just embrace, like, look, that's honest. None of us are perfect, and there's moments where we don't feel perfect. But in that, there's beauty, and there's grace, and there's dignity. And if we can step away from the labels or the idea that we have to look a certain way, at the same shape, same size, same color, same, whatever, that's crazy. What is that?
Why would we want to be cookie cutter like that?
Right.
Exactly.
And yet we continue until we have an opportunity like this to come together in a tribe like this and have a leader say to us, I see your beauty, and I'm going to help you express that, not through Karianne's lens. I mean, literally, we do. But tell us who you are. So each of us had the experience to meet ahead of time with a stylist who you're working with, and come up with a couple of words that would help, that we're really trying to exemplify through our photos. As you mentioned, pick out the outfits that we could cover. Some of you gals had also mentioned that we could decide between more corporate or kind of what we needed for our headshots, or did we want to do more sexy shots and boudoir? And so it was just really what spoke to us individually, and we got to choose that. If I could share just briefly, my story is my situation as well. So I feel like I have a little bit of everybody in me. I went through major trauma in 2019. In fact, in 4 days, it will be a 2-year anniversary. And I have since gotten a divorce, lost the love of my life. My son and I have left our home of 24 years, and we are now renting because I needed the money to continue to work in my business after taking about a year off to find my way through it. And Karianne and I have known each other for years and run in similar circles. And she also, like several of you, also did my professional shots not too long ago. And when I saw, it's funny because I think it was Rebecca who mentioned the first project you did when we kind of landed in COVID with the Zoom photos. I thought, there's that Karianne being so dang creative. Again, like who would think to do that, right? Because you and so many other business owners were faced with, oh my gosh, no one's going anywhere. No one's being in person anymore. This is my livelihood. What am I going to do? And I thought, awesome for you. And I remember seeing several of them. And it's funny because it wasn't until Rebecca mentioned that it feels like it was so long ago, right? Because now the focus that all of us have been talking about is the 40 over 40 project. So for me, and I can really relate to what Nicole was sharing a moment ago, I had to find myself. I had lost myself. I had flatlined. My life had changed on a dime unexpectedly. And like many women in a divorce situation, or I was left thinking, well, I'm not enough. And it must be because, I wasn't sexy enough. I wasn't pretty enough. I wasn't smart enough. I wasn't helpful enough. I wasn't loving enough. Whatever all that stuff is, that was all running through my mind. So when I saw, Karianne, when you were sharing about the opportunity, I thought, okay, boy, this is really stepping out of my comfort zone. Sure, I'd love to do the head shots. I need some new ones anyway. But I said, I think I need to just do all beauty shots and selfishly just, put myself out there and play. And it was amazing. And talk about transformational. All the words that you shared, each of you really speak volumes to me. So as we share this, Karianne, what are you feeling?
I am kind of at a loss of words for all this, but what I'm loving hearing is just how everybody kind of approached this project through similar thinking, but also very in different ways. Yours was as a result of a divorce and trauma that you had gone through. which you had lost yourself, kind of like Nicole had lost herself, but not in the same way. Like everybody is coming to this project from similar ways, but different ways. And I think that's the beauty of it, is that so many people can find themselves through this project, no matter how they get to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there a typical woman? Because I feel like we all, while there's a thread and similarities, we all have our own unique individuality and reason we came to this. And of course, how we chose to show up in the photos. But is there a typical woman? Is that a thing?
I've looked at all the numbers and the demographics, and of course, the typical woman is over 40, and that can go up to whatever age. Honestly, there about 70% of the women in this particular project were business owners, because that's my closest circle right now. Although that's expanding, but it doesn't have to be. So really, it's women over 40 who wants to see herself in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
That's it right there.
I love it. So it's a great time for me to invite us to pause for just a couple moments, because when you met Mary Beth at the beginning of the show, we are also so proud to acknowledge Mary Beth and Prism HR Consulting as the signature event sponsor. And so we have a brief word from our sponsor. Let's pause for that.
Do you need help finding the best employees for your company? Are you worried you may be out of compliance with new laws and regulations? Prism HR supports businesses throughout the U.S. across dozens of industries. We take the stress of HR issues off your desk so you can focus on building your business. Contact Prism HR today for a free consultation at 702-914-0995 or online at prismgmg.com.
Thank you. I'd love to hear, if you wouldn't mind sharing, why would you choose to sponsor an event like this?
Wow, I just got really emotional. Didn't expect that. I think that it's a way for me to reach so many women that I have had the opportunity to interact with. I see it every single day, when I'm interviewing people or trying to, coach someone through their career or what have you, that they tend to carry. And I think we as women tend to carry things that have been said to us from a very early age, and how we were not encouraged. And I see really brilliant women who have, so much opportunity in front of them, and they are just stifled by the self-image issue. And I stay on top of this as well, because it's not just the teenage girls who are being affected by this today. I think it's women of all age. And my concern is that I think we carry this through, and as mothers, as sisters, aunts, friends, what have you. And I think that we need to be more open with each other. And I love what you said, that we all have these insecurities and these moments. And for some reason, I think we've been told by society, by media, what have you, that we're not supposed to feel those things. And I have it. I have waves of self-doubt and lack of confidence, at different times in my life, and I've been divorced. I've gone through that. So I feel like this is just a way to really get this project out there, and also show women that you've got a network, you've got a tribe here that supports you. And I think as many differences we all have all of this as a core in common. And I think we need to talk about it, and we think we need to be more public about it. And I want to do this. If we can't help women that are older necessarily, are young girls right now, I don't want to see them go through this. I don't want to see them see these crazy images that no one can live up to, because there's no such thing as perfection, right? It is, you embrace your own beauty, embrace your soul, inner, outer beauty. And so really that's what sparked my interest in this in the first place. And it's really my way of trying to give back with this project.
Thank you, Mary Beth.
Thank you.
Wow. All right. So let's talk about the event. Tell us a little bit about what's in store, and it's December 11th.
It's December 11th.
At your studio.
At my studio now.
So exciting.
Yeah, that's gone through a few changes. Yes, it's invitation only. It's for the project participants and their guests that they want to invite. We're doing a couple, the whole project has been amazing, but there's two really fabulous things that are going on there. I think women, we see these small pictures of ourselves on digital or a small print, but we don't envision ourselves as large works of art on the walls, right?
Oh, dear Lord, my stomach just dropped.
Right? Because we've been told not to take up space our entire lives. And now not only are we taking up space on the walls, maybe our home, but we're doing it just as ourselves, not with our family pictures, right? So I wanted to create an opportunity where women could exist on the walls of an art exhibition, right? So we could see ourselves as the magnificent works of art that we are. So I am enlarging one photo from everyone's session, and that is a mystery to everyone. And we will be there to admire and love on everyone's photos. And so we can see ourselves as works of art on the wall. I'm also creating a custom magazine. So it's going to include a photo from every woman's session and a short story about what it's like to be a woman over the age of 40, how she's living her most extraordinary life now, what her dreams are for the next decade. So inspirational, so much beauty in the words that the women are writing. And so the magazine will be unveiled, and the wall enlargements will be unveiled at this particular art exhibition. So it's so fabulous. I cannot wait. Has anyone ever been a part of anything like that for themselves before, right?
No. Unless you yourself are an artist, right? But even many artists don't ever have an occasion to celebrate that part of their soul and their creation.
So the self, yeah.
Yes, right. and that would be through their art. But this is, having us stare back at us.
I'm excited to at our studio because Kirsten, my daughter, and I, when we were there, we were asking you, why wouldn't you have it here at the studio?
I know. It had nothing to do with my space. I just thought it was going to be too small, especially in our time of COVID. But I'm doing a tent outside, so it's going to have plenty of space for us.
I agree, Kim. I think it's the perfect location, and I'm glad it came around back to having it there because we've all now breathed into those walls and have we've left a piece of ourselves there and I think it'll be a glorious celebration. Love it.
We're also having a happy hour. I just want to share that because I won't be at the December 11th event, so I'm like, can we do something before December 11th?
That was Kim's idea.
And Mary Patrick, we were having like happy hour and we thought of it.
I love it. So tell us about that. The invitation only, of course, it's for the participants.
It is. We are meeting at Pinspiration, another woman-owned business who I've photographed work in the past. And we're just going to get together for happy hour and to create some art together and potentially go out for dinner afterwards just to get to know each other a little bit more and have like a pre-celebration before that.
Oh my gosh!
And Mary Beth is even coming in from out of town. We have some friends who are coming in from Oregon for it too. Some people are coming in from out of town for the happy hour too. So it's amazing. Yeah,
I look forward to meeting you, Mary Beth.
Me too. And so for our listeners who have come to listen to this because you've known one of us or you just were curious, you saw the 40 over 40 title, are you still accepting reservations for next year's project? And how would somebody get in touch with you to figure that out?
Absolutely. Yes. We are on our way to booking next year. I'm opening up to more than 40 women next year. It's probably going to be closer to 60 or 65. And we're about a third of the way full already, if you can believe it. But that does mean that there are plenty of slots still. So go to my website, KarianneMunstedt.com. The link should be up by Wednesday to check it out a little bit more. That's tomorrow. Gosh, I need to get on that. And not only for the women who are listening, of course, jump in and take a look at it and see if this is the right project for you. But for the men who are listening today too, consider this for your wives, your daughters, your colleagues. It's for photographing women, but the women doesn't have to be the one who signs up. This could be a wonderful opportunity for a man to, present this to a female in his life too.
Well, that's a beautiful idea. Yeah. So before we each introduced ourselves, I had said I'd like to come back around and hear from each of you. I think we hinted around it, but is there anything else you'd like to share about being in the studio? Or for those of us who've seen our photos, our portraits, what was the reveal like? So I think we've talked some about it. My first question was, why would you choose to participate? But in that now, okay, it's over and done. We've all said that we've carried it on with us, right? This new version, whatever that means for each of us. But share with us what it was like to be in the studio and or what was like for you to see the portraits when you sat in your reveal session. So any one of you can start first.
I'll go.
Okay. Oh. All right. Well, we'll let the studio gals go first, and then we'll turn it to Zoom.
I haven't seen mine yet, so obviously I don't have that experience just yet. I know.
Karianne's like,
However, since I've had the pleasure of being with her twice, and especially for this particular project, I find that Karianne is able to get me to really open up and do things I wouldn't normally do in a picture. Like, I am totally uncomfortable not smiling in a picture. Like, it's just, I just smile. Just somebody looks at me, I smile. And so then when someone says, don't smile, I'm like, what do you mean? But she was able to bring that out in me. And then the picture that I saw where I wasn't smiling, I liked it. And so that to me was like amazing, because I've never been able to just make a face that I thought looked amazing in a picture that wasn't just a full on smile. Yeah. And so the other thing though that she is able to do is get these invoke emotion, a lot of happiness and joy, but a lot of, I guess, what's the word I'm thinking? I'm thinking of your laugh.
I know.
Yes.
Of course, we're all thinking.
I know you're all hearing it right now, aren't you? I can see everybody shaking their heads.
I don't know how to put this into words, but that laugh,
infectious.
It is. And sometimes when I'm not really having that good of a day, I'm like, okay,
channel Karianne,
totally laughing like Karianne. Yeah, let me just laugh through this and move on, and it's her laugh, which now is really funny. And now I want to do it out loud. Not now, but I'm saying in general, maybe
we'll have to get to do it before we leave.
I know, I reserved that for my studio.
I was going to say, I notice you're laughing, but you're also like silent laughing. But so yes, there you go. If there's not a plug for someone to participate in the 40 over 40 project, just come
for my ridiculous laugh.
Because you're not going to get to hear it here.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So yeah. And the other thing I will say is, as I was taking these last pictures, my fourth child is my only daughter, and she's only 4. And so the one thing I kept going back to was, now I can show this to her and have something for her to be able to draw on. Like, gosh, I can't remember who was saying it. Maybe Mary Beth was talking about, being able to, helping young girls, right? Yes, so I've never parented in the time of social media. My other kids are grown. And so now I'm scared, and I thought, well, if she can get her role model at home, then whatever happens on the internet might not be as strong to her, might not be as much of a magnet to her, and so that's really something that I'm going to, rely on and carry for Carrie.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Great. I want to just jump in and talk about the smiling thing, right? Like, as women, what are we told all the time? Smile, 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 smile. And so we even had a term coined, right? Like, if we're not smiling, it's called the RBF, the resting bitch face, right? If we're not smiling. So I have recoined that, by the way. Instead of resting bitch face now, it's resting my beautiful face from having to smile all the time. So when you guys are not smiling, just know you're just resting your face.
Real.
It's not a bitchy look. It's just, we're just really just resting our face from smiling. So
brilliant.
Anyway.
So real quick before we have Kim talk, I wanted to mention that Mary, our student intern from Corona del Sol High School, came in halfway through the segment to listen in because she just started her workday with us. And I am so proud to have her listening to this conversation. Yeah, because each of us have expressed how important it is for us to help, women come up and really own themselves all the way through their life. And I have a 25-year-old daughter who is very comfortable in her skin and takes a lot of the kinds of photos that I took without, just reckless abandon. She is out there and gorgeous. And so for me to even consider doing it, I thought, oh no, what is she going to think of me? And she was the sweetest person. When I posted my first photo, she called me and she's like, Mom, wow, I thought you were going to do business photos. I'm like, no, I decided not to. And it really helped me. And I'm very proud of having made the decision like you have with your daughter, who's so young, to make sure that my daughter knew who she was from the inside out. And even though it's taken me this long to be able to really own that, I could give her that gift as I was trying to figure it out. So thank you for that. So Kim, what was it like for you?
Being in the studio was really fun and exciting. I was a little bit nervous for a couple of reasons. I was taking my daughter, who is 22 with me to the studio, and I knew I was doing boudoir photos, but I didn't tell her, and I didn't know like what it would be, you know, what the studio experience would be like. But she was there the whole time, all the way through, and she was really excited. So it made me feel comfortable. The second reason, you know, I had some apprehension about being in the studio was Nicole was my fashion stylist. So she picked out all my outfits to make me look great. I'm looking at this picture and my friends were like, I can't believe you showed your feet, because that's my insecurity. I do not like my feet.
Oh, your feet look gorgeous.
Okay.
And I love that you did it though.
Yeah. So,
good job.
But I went to the studio. Like I said, I had no expectations of anything. I was a free for all, like whatever, just wide open. So Black women are very particular about their hair. And I knew the hairstylist was going to be white and she would be doing my makeup too. And I was like, what in the world am I going to look like? But I was open, you know, like she knows what she's doing. Come to find out, she's a very talented makeup artist. She's done makeup for entertainers. And I looked amazing. I didn't have her change a single thing, not from the hair to the eyelashes to the makeup. And she was really surprised that I even let her do the eyelashes. And I'm like, I'm just praying you know what you're doing and that I'm going to look amazing. And so, you know, I think we have to stop with all of our preconceptions of what we think sometimes and just be open to allow people to do their jobs the way they do their work, because she was phenomenal. And I'm so happy with all of my pictures and the way I looked. I thought I looked, and I didn't ask her to change a single thing, not one thing. It was so easy.
Yeah.
And of course, Karianne's laugh had us laughing the whole entire time. And I think we went over, like, we really had a good time. It was a fun experiment or a fun project. Experience. A fun experience. And I'm happy I did it. Yeah. I do it again. So I'm sure I'll see you again.
I'm sure. Once you start, you can't. So it's like Pringles, right?
Yes, right.
Exactly. How about our ladies who are with us remotely? I'd love to hear from each of you as well.
My experience, there's touches throughout this conversation that I want to kind of touch on. My experience from the beginning photo shoot, I've done 3, like I mentioned before, have evolved into actually seeing myself. I had a friend say, you don't see yourself. So seeing myself in photos. I mean, when I was younger, I loved to have my photos taken. And when I got in front of the camera with Carrie and she made me feel so comfortable, I went back to that self. And what came out of the first set of photos was an idea for an art project, which I'm still working on because I too am going through a life transition and going through a divorce. And in fact, many of my photos were very welcomed, but then some were taken very negatively and criticized by the soon-to-be ex. So it's this kind of, how do you see yourself in the world? How do other people see you? The juxtaposition of those perceptions. But the art project that I'm working on is called Finding Self. So my second photo shoot with Karianne, I had her do things specifically for this art project. And now the third, which is the Over 40 project, it still continues because now it's like the fun, the identifying with the child self and roller skates. And, you know, I've started riding motorcycles. So we got some motorcycle photos. And so it's just being expansive as women.
Yeah.
Great word.
And stop being small and to be seen.
Yeah.
And to be seen fully for yourself. And it also goes to the fact that if people want to criticize and judge you, perhaps those people don't necessarily exist in your life then.
Absolutely.
And we as women need to come together and push each other forward and live our fullest life.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I can't thank you enough for being vulnerable to share from a very personal perspective. And that each of us had to reveal a vulnerable part of ourselves when we entered the studio. And you, of course, you made it so easy. We've all said that. that idea around this is an expansive experience. How expansive can I be? How expansive can I become? And being able to step away from the naysayers. Mm-hmm. Even if the naysayers are validating the negative self-talk we have within ourselves, it's an invitation to say enough
is enough.
Enough is enough. Mm-hmm. And I get it. Yes. Yeah. So thank you for being so bold in your sharing as well. All right, ladies, who else?
I'll go. It really sums up to one thing, which is gray hair.
I know nothing about that.
Well, your hair is gorgeous, by the way. I was going to tell you. I call it my COVID hair. I just got done with, having to go to the stylist every 3 weeks and putting all this chemicals on my head. So it's been almost a 2-year process, but I'm thrilled with it. I've been getting compliments. Who knew that the universe gave me these beautiful natural highlights, and I've been spending money and time all these years for a couple gray hairs. But I've really embraced it. And when I, heard about this project, one of the things is, my headshot that I have currently, it's nice. It's not who I am anymore. Mm-hmm. And, one of the things I was joking with Karianne about is like, this has happened to me personally. This happened to me on with someone I know that I hadn't seen in a long time. And I didn't recognize them because the headshot they're using on LinkedIn is quite old. And that person doesn't look like that anymore. I mean, that's not who they are anymore at all. And I didn't want to have some people say that, but I also didn't want to portray myself. It seemed disingenuous. Mm-hmm. And so I'm embracing my gray. I'm embracing, this next phase in my life and stage. And I'm happy about it. And that was really kind of the impetus to get me involved in this project. And it started with headshots, but it turned into so much more.
Mm. Yeah. Thank you. Rebecca.
I think, I echo a lot of what I've been hearing from all these beautiful ladies. I think for me, the experience being in the studio, I actually didn't know what to expect, right? I've never done anything like this before in my whole life. I think I can sum it up to, I just felt drop dead gorgeous. I mean, it just was an amazing experience. And it wasn't drop dead gorgeous in like a perfect way, right? Like, I think what Karianne was able to do for me was to help me see the beauty in my imperfections and be able to show that I have a lot of light inside of me, and she was able to really bring that out. And it's not like I haven't seen that light in a very long time. And it just really, I think, showed me, that energy that's inside of me. And I'm addicted to that feeling now and want more of it. And it really is like brought a lot of life to me, during a pretty tough last couple of years, right, with COVID and not seeing my family. My mom lives in Phoenix. She's, my family is far away from me. And it's just been a tough year. Right. And I have an 11-year-old daughter who's also going through, a lot of change in her life. So for me to be able to show her that, you can be imperfect and still be wonderful and be able to celebrate all of that and celebrate just who you are. And it's just been, I can't celebrate enough how awesome this experience was. And I want everyone to feel it. And I want everyone to experience it with Karianne, because I think you, Karianne, are just a very special person who is able to, I think, bring just so much joy and so much life out of people through your work. And I just am profoundly impacted by it.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Yeah, I really can't imagine this project with anybody else but you.
Right.
And I'm sure there's similar things out there.
There are, yeah.
Yeah, but it doesn't even
we won't
make
have
sense.
That laugh.
No, we wouldn't have the laugh.
No one can bring that.
No. And again, you don't get to hear it today. You must participate.
You must participate to hear the laugh.
So we are at the end of our conversation today. And I can't thank you enough, Karianne, for trusting us at Business RadioX to share the stories, but each of you really being vulnerable and really an organic conversation today. Is there anything, Karianne, that I haven't thought to ask, or any of you for that matter, that we haven't brought up that would be important for our listeners to kind of hang on to before we close?
Gosh, I can't think of anything. What about you guys?
Yes.
I can think of one thing.
Oh, yes, please.
So your name is not typical. It's unique. And so if you want people to find your website, I feel like you should spell it.
Well, I think you guys are going to put it on your website,
it'll be
right?
a podcast.
Oh, okay,
Yep.
good.
So,
Yeah.
but for our live listeners, if you don't happen to catch the podcast, which you can hopefully, so it's Creative Commons content. Well, hopefully you'll put it on your website.
Oh, for sure.
But it'll be on Phoenix Business RadioX as well. And it's Karianne Munstedt Portrait. So it's Karianne, which is, I think, typical. But then M, what's the correct, when you say M instead of N? I was going to,
Michael.
Yep. M as in Michael, U-N as in Nancy, S as in Sam, T as in Tom, E, D as in door, T as in Tom again, portrait.
And it's, just KarianneMunstedt.com is the website.
Oh, yes. Sorry. I was looking at the Facebook.
That's okay.
Yeah. So for Facebook,
yeah.
Karianne Munstedt Portrait. But thank you. But for the website itself, as well as Instagram, connect with Karianne Munstedt.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Ladies who are remote, any last words you'd like to share? We're good, huh? All right.
Thank you again.
Oh, my
for the
goodness.
opportunity.
Thank you. You've been listening to Phoenix Business Radio, broadcasting live from the Max 6 Entrepreneur Center. Some media leans left, some lean right, and we lean business. Until next time, business and beauty, and women over 40. Until next time, I'm Karen Nowicki. Thanks so much for listening.